Good Friday morning. Thanks for watching Market Day Report. I'm Christina Loren. A lineup of colorful tractors will join this afternoon's Presidential Inaugural Parade, representing America's farmers and ranchers. RFD-TV has organized the Rural Tractor Brigade as part of the procession, which begins at 3 p.m. Eastern and proceeds down 15 blocks of Pennsylvania Avenue between the U.S. Capitol and the White House. RFD-TV's Mark Oppel joins us live ahead of today's event.
Thank you, Christina. We are live here as we begin final preparations for this inaugural parade. The Tractor Brigade is ready. Patrick Gott's joining me. Patrick, all the planning. You and I were standing here when we fired up the engines, and you hear that in Indianapolis 500. There's not a better sound for two farm boys seeing these tractors fire up in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day, Mark. A lot of fun. We got every tractor manufacturer represented here. We got green, we got orange, we got red, we got yellow. Coming down Pennsylvania Avenue, and the inaugural parade is we've done a lot of cool things, I think, at RFD-TV. The tractor parade, antique tractor parade at the Nebraska State Fair, the truck parade at Indianapolis 500, but I think this really does top them all, so I'm really excited about it.
Absolutely, and we have all this associations represented here that are driving and or riding these tractors as well.
Yeah, the reason we're here, if there's one thing that unites all of rural America, is that we have to do a better job of communicating with the folks in the city.
Sure.
And so Skippy Duvall, the president of the Farm Bureau, the president of the Pork Producers, the president of the American Soybean Association, president of U.S. Farm and Ranch Alliance, are all driving tractors representing their memberships in the parade. Jim Odell's here with Superior Livestock Auction. He and I will be in the lead John Deere. So if you're watching the parade, we'll wave to you.
Very good. And you got a wingman. You didn't leave anything out.
Bring in my wingman.
Who is this?
This is Mr. Greg Shamoon.
Okay, great.
And he really is our wingman. He's going to be driving the. Is it a Mahindra?
It's a case.
Oh,
it's a little small
little case right in the front row with us. So he's got my backside.
How about that? Greg, has been a great experience here just in the last 24 hours.
I tell you, we are fortunate to be a part of a great day and a great event for our country. And I thank Patrick for allowing me to join and be his wingman anytime, Patrick.
Greg's a good friend of mine and a rancher in south of Dallas. So,
right, yeah.
So he's a real rancher and farmer. Everybody likes his hat.
Yeah, that's. I don't think you're going to blend right in today, aren't you?
I tell you what, the coon is here.
Patrick, it's a proud day for RFD-TV. Congratulations to you personally as well.
Well, a lot of work. Patty O'Brien. She's sitting on empty now, but she's put a lot of work into this. A lot of folks at RFD-TV, as they always do. Every time I come up with a screwy idea, somehow they figure out a way to make it work. So this is going to be fun. We're in the what they call the second division of the parade, which should make us about a half hour into the parade. We're right before the University of Tennessee band. But you can't miss us. All these great tractors will be coming down Pennsylvania Avenue with the American flag flying, representing agriculture.
Very good. And we will be here all day long here leading up to the parade and even more afterwards. So stay right here. You're in the right place at RFD-TV and Rural Radio to see and hear all the pageantry, if you want to call it that, here of this Tractor Brigade, part of the inaugural parade. Live from Washington, D.C., back to you.
Thank you, Mark, and you're exactly right. Keep it right here on RFD-TV for complete coverage. And while parade preparation continues this morning, those involved in the Tractor Brigade got things kicked off last night. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson caught up with Massey-Ferguson at the load-in.
There's a lot of exciting things that take place the night before the inaugural parade. The streets may be quiet, but the street that we are on is not. We are joined by John Lipscomb. John just came in here a short time ago with Massey-Ferguson Tractor, coming in from Pennsylvania. However, you're an Alabama boy, but you've got the opportunity to drive down Pennsylvania Avenue in a tractor tomorrow.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm thrilled to be here. Was just so excited when AGCO called and gave me the opportunity to represent them and represent our country here in the Inauguration Parade.
I have to ask, whenever you got that call and somebody ran this by you, what went through your mind?
Well, I'm a 32-year National Guard member, so I've been National Guard for 32 years, and just any opportunity to represent my country and participate in the activities of the country, and just to go through an inauguration, I was just thrilled to be offered that opportunity.
And then I understand that you're also going to deploy this summer.
That's correct. Yeah, our unit's been called up, and we get the opportunity to represent America and go help protect our nation and just take care of things for the country.
Well, we certainly appreciate your service, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of fellow comrades around Washington, D.C., because they are playing a role in putting this whole thing together.
Well, that's what makes the National Guard so great. We're here for the citizens of the U.S., both home and abroad, and we're always here to do our part whenever we're needed.
Now, I have to comment that this is a pretty big tractor on the narrow streets of Washington, D.C. for tomorrow. Can you do it?
I got it. Nothing but a thing.
Not worried at all. And of course, we got folks flying over. You can hear them flying over. Again, all the preparation, all the work taking place for the inaugural parade started, well, a long time ago. In fact, we talked to a gentleman who's out here setting up a lot of the fencing and helping coordinate a lot of the tractors coming in that are part of the Tractor Brigade. Said that they started putting up fences many weeks ago, if not months ago, just in smaller areas, and then slowly expanding that reach. So it's pretty impressive to see all this take place. And I know that they have spent a lot of hours in the overnight hours, not just preceding the parade directly the eve, but in the weeks preceding the parade, of course, as well. We're going to have more for you throughout the day on the road in Washington, D.C. I'm Janet Adkisson, RFD-TV News.
And again, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern. RFD-TV will be posting on social media, though, throughout the day, including live updates all day from the scene. Just log on to facebook.com/official RFD-TV and follow us on Facebook and Twitter if you haven't already. Today's Presidential Inaugural Parade will highlight agriculture through the Rural Tractor Brigade. Several ag and broadcast leaders will represent the nation's farmers and ranchers in this RFD-TV organized event. The parade begins this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern and will proceed down 15 blocks of Pennsylvania Avenue between the U.S. Capitol and the White House. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson joins us live ahead of today's historic event. Joining us now on the phone, Janet, tell us a little bit about the atmosphere in Washington, D.C. on this historic day.
Well, Christina, I tell you, it is a pretty exciting day. And while the crowds where we specifically are not necessarily abundant right now, the energy, the folks that are here are certainly happy to be here. I know that because they were with us out here before 6 o'clock in the morning, actually before even 5 o'clock in the morning, it was ready to come in and standing in line waiting through the gates. The security folks, they've all been such a pleasure to visit with and talk to. Some of them are new on the job. Some of them have been around here for a while and, of course, been through the inauguration process before. So, Christina, needless to say, a lot of energy, but a lot of good conversation also taking place.
And you had an opportunity to see the tractors as they rolled in last night. How did that feel?
That was pretty exciting, I'm not going to lie, because keep in mind that there are barricades up. So Independence Avenue, that I am usually on quite often when I'm working in D.C., completely barricaded off, and not just with your regular bike rails, but with these tall rails that are about 6 foot tall, and no getting through, no getting around these things. So you've got Independence Avenue all to yourself if you happen to be in that part of the street. They brought the tractors in, and of course the tractors came in between 9 and 11 o'clock last night and rolled those off, and it was pretty cool. There were folks taking pictures of the tractors because obviously there's some folks who've never spent a lot of time around equipment this large, and they were commenting about the size of these tractors and what on earth are they used for. So, making that connection and building a conversation, which is what it's all about.
Yeah, bridging city with country. And, you have a long day ahead of you. You're also going to be attending an inaugural ball later on. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the event that I'll be going to this evening, it's got a late start, not until about 9 o'clock tonight. So I'm hoping I can squeeze in at least a little shower time or maybe even nap time before that gets started. But that is it's the annual agriculture gala is what it is. So it's a bipartisan event that's held during every inauguration. It doesn't matter who's coming into office. It's just a celebration of agriculture taking place, and anybody who's in Washington, D.C. involved in the farm sector, they are going to be there. I've got several friends that I've worked with, several comrades in the Hill that work in the agriculture policy realm, and they're all planning to be there, and everybody's very excited. I've heard great things about it, so I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Oh, we can't wait to see your pictures from the event as well, and your posts from social media throughout the day. Again, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, and RFD-TV will bring you coverage throughout the morning on tonight's Rural Evening News as well at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Plus, continued coverage next week on RFD-TV and an upcoming issue of RFD-TV, the magazine. We're going to have even more pictures, more coverage just for you. Stay with us. Meteorologist Tim Ross has your forecast coming up at 40 after the hour. We will be right back. Good morning, and thanks for watching Market Day Report on the historic day. I'm Christina Loren. The 2017 Presidential Inaugural Parade will highlight the American journey, including the one by our nation's farmers and ranchers. Agriculture will be represented by the Rural Tractor Brigade, and RFD-TV has organized the lineup, which will join the procession as the parade makes its way to the White House beginning this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. RFD-TV's Mark Oppel joins us live ahead of today's event.
Well, thank you, Christina. It's a team effort to put a tractor brigade together, and I wanted to share one of those team members with you and our viewers and listeners as we, again, await the beginning of the inaugural parade. With me is Jamie Reeves. He is with Atlantic Tractor in nearby Whiteford, Maryland. There's a lot of colors behind us. You're partial to the green colors, and you are the man who helped get all the green tractors here, Jamie. We want to thank you.
Thank you very much. So 2 Sunday nights ago at home, so the owner of RFD-TV actually called me and asked me if we'd participate in the parade and bring some equipment, some tractors specifically. Mm-hmm. So obviously here we are. It's a huge honor to be a part of this activity. It's a once in a lifetime experience, and from what I understand, it's the first time tractors have been displayed in an inaugural parade in Washington, D.C.
Exactly.
And so it's a true honor. Atlantic Tractor brought 3 tractors here. Glad Hill Equipment has 2 tractors here also.
Now, how far was it a move to bring them here from Whiteford?
So we have an 11-store location in the Mid-Atlantic region of the Eastern Shore. Mm-hmm. And so these tractors came up. The farthest one came approximately 60 miles from here, across the Bay Bridge, and we had to receive the tractors here in D.C. last night at 10 o'clock to avoid the congestion traffic. They're shutting the city down. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of cars. It's
very coordination in there.
A lot of coordination. The trucks have to stay here all night and stay here all day today and wait to move out this evening.
Talk about the dealership, Atlantic Tractor there in Whiteford. What are you looking for this year? What's the attitude of your customers?
Obviously, we're always looking for big yields and big prices. And that the Eastern Shore shares a lot of poultry, a lot of grain. The Upper Bay, where I'm a part of in northern Hartford County, north of Baltimore, we have a mixed hay, a lot of horses, a lot of grain, mm-hmm. a lot of beef, and southern York County, Pennsylvania, same.
A lot of need for a big green tractor behind us here, the 6215 that you're going to be part of today riding. Talk about real quick, you're pretty proud of this, of all of them, but you said, Mark, I like this one.
So this tractor right here started at the Laurel Racetrack in the horse industry for 2 years grooming the track, and now it's here. And obviously tomorrow it'll be available for sale, as the other 2 will be also, and there will be special tractors, special pricing.
And the price just went up when you're in an inaugural parade, right?
We hope someone will take advantage of the situation, yes.
Jamie, thanks for all the hard work getting us here. Just waiting for that go sign here, as a lot of us are here, but thanks for the great help in making this happen.
Thank you for interviewing us.
Very good. All right, Jamie Reeves here, one of the many team members here as we get ready. Just set up here. The tractors have been started. The lights are on. All the security has been done. Now it's just waiting for the time when we can make that entrance and be part of the parade. First time, as he mentioned, the tractors are part of it. Here live in Washington, D.C., we're back to you.
Thank you so much, Mark. And again, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, and RFD-TV will bring you coverage throughout the morning and on tonight's Rural Evening News at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Plus, we'll also have continued coverage next week on RFD-TV and in an upcoming issue of RFD-TV, the magazine. Today's Presidential Inaugural Parade will highlight agriculture through the Rural Tractor Brigade. Several ag and broadcast leaders will represent the nation's farmers and ranchers in this RFD-TV organized event. And RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson joins us live from her front row seat.
Thanks again, Christina. I tell you what, it's a glorious day. A little bit dreary as far as the weather is concerned, but it's not dampening the spirits of anybody around here. Now, we've got the catbird seat of Washington, D.C. We are at 15th and Pennsylvania. This is where some of the staging is taking place. As you can see, it's pretty quiet, but very full right now. The folks are moving on around and going on through the 15th Street. They're going to be coming around that corner and then going down the street this direction where we have the motorcycles and, of course, the sidecars. Now, where these folks are set up, the security personnel, they are just in front of where the White House is. So we're going to turn to my right, and back behind me to my right, about 200 yards, that is where the White House is. So, of course, by the end of the day, that is where President-elect Donald Trump and his family will call home for the next 4 years. Right now, from what I understand, they attended church this morning. They had breakfast with the current president and vice president, and then President Obama and Biden escorted Trump as well as Pence over to the Capitol. And, of course, all that is taking place right now. We've got the inauguration ceremony that's going to start momentarily, from what I understand. I do want to give a little shout out to my alma mater, Missouri State University. Southwest Missouri State University is what it was when I was in school. Well, they are going to be performing. The choir is performing at the inauguration ceremony. So a lot of things taking place, a lot of energy for me personally, excited for folks back home, and of course excited for everybody here because there's so much happening and people are really looking forward to the activities. Not to mention, of course, the Tractor Brigade. They are not with us yet, but of course we'll see them here in just a few hours. Can't wait to visit with them and learn about the experience that they are having driving down Pennsylvania Avenue in those beautiful tractors. We are having a great time, Christine. Back to you in the studio.
I don't think you could find a better spot than where you are located. Looking forward to hearing more from you throughout the day. Janet Atkinson. Good morning, and thanks for watching Market Day Report. I'm Christina Loren. A lineup of colorful tractors will join this afternoon's Presidential Inaugural Parade, representing America's farmers and ranchers. Now, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern and will proceed down 15 blocks of Pennsylvania Avenue between the U.S. Capitol and the White House. RFD-TV's Mark Oppel joins us live.
Thanks, Christina. Earlier this morning, Patrick Gotch joining me and mentioning some of those special invitees, celebrities driving these tractors, and one of those joining me this hour, a familiar name and a person that we really appreciate and have a great partnership, the American Farm Bureau Federation President, Zippy Duvall, joining us. Zippy, what a day it is.
It's an exciting day in America today.
It certainly is. Just kind of give us your thoughts here. We've got the tractors are all lined up, but a process just getting this far. You're just kind of your thoughts going through your mind on this inauguration day.
Well, you know, as I come across from my apartment where I stay during the week and go home on the weekend to my farm, that usually takes me 12 minutes to walk it every morning. It took me 4 hours this morning, and the security here is just second to none in the world. People are polite and kind, and you just got to be patient with them. They're doing an outstanding job,
absolutely.
And it's exciting to be here.
Absolutely. I know you and Patrick talked about the importance, and the real reason we're here is to show the power of rural America.
That's exactly right. You know, the farmers and ranchers and the people in the Rust Belt came out and paved the road for President-elect Trump to make it to the White House, and you know, we're here reinforcing that strength that we showed in rural America when we went to the polls and helped send him here.
You know, I think Georgia might be taking over agriculture here. You are the president of the largest farm organization. We just got news this week of the agricultural secretary designate, a good friend of yours, Sonny Perdue. You have to feel confident about that association.
Well, you know, as president of the American Farm Bureau, I'm just really excited because I know Governor Perdue. I worked with him when I was president of Georgia Farm Bureau. He was a great governor. He understood agriculture, and he always invited us through the front door. He was proud of agriculture. He was good on trade. He's a veterinarian by trade, so he's a scientist. He understands the science that we use. I think the farmers and ranchers across this country are going to be just really excited and proud of the job that Governor Perdue will do in that position.
RFD-TV was pleased to be at the American Farm Bureau Federation convention, a great convention last week in Phoenix. The key theme, I guess, the past year was unity, and you said, Mark, this year we're moving to a new name, engagement. What do you mean by that?
Well, last year, my first year, and I traveled 33 states talking to our grassroots, saying, we have to unite as an organization. We have to unite between commodity groups and agribusiness so that we can work on issues that are important to us, and including the farm bill that's coming up. We got to have one voice. So we talked about unity all year long. This year's about engagement. Not only did we go to the polls and send a new president to Washington and help do that, now we got to make sure that we continue to be engaged. If you're a farmer and you went to the poll and you voted for Mr. Trump, your job is not done. Our job is going to continue all year long by being engaged, and there's no better way of doing that than through your commodity group and your local farm bureau.
Well said. We're standing in front of a big blue New Holland here, and you said, Mark, I grew up on New Holland. I'm not sure they were this big, though. Were they doing?
No, and they were called Ford tractors then. So, yeah, I still got the 3, 5, and 8,000 Ford my dad had on the farm.
Very good. Great to have you here. So thanks for joining us in this brigade today.
Thank you for letting me have the honor to be here, and it's a great event.
The honor is ours. Zippy Duvall, president of the American Farm Bureau Federation, one of the celebrity drivers here, just waiting for the go sign as we, again, a big part of the inaugural parade today. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Mark. And every 4 years, our nation's capital is crammed with people anxious to see the president sworn into office. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson caught up with an inauguration veteran to find out what today is all about.
Well, as we've discussed, it's certainly an exciting day in Washington, D.C. with the inauguration taking place, and also, of course, the Tractor Brigade being front and center in that parade. Now, I have not had the chance to experience the inauguration or the parade before, but we've had the chance to catch up with some folks here in Washington, D.C. who have. We are joined now by Rob LaRue. He is with the National Farmers Union. Not your first rodeo this year.
No. Inauguration is always an exciting time, though, here in Washington.
So tell us about the experience. What do you think folks can expect throughout the day?
Well, first and foremost, anybody who's arriving here, if you don't like crowds, it's a tough one. But it is exciting. You have everybody coming in from across the country who want to be participating in this important government transition of power. And there's this energy that goes throughout the crowd every time, and regardless of the administration.
Do you think it's well worth the time and to fight the crowds, and even if no matter what it is on the political spectrum, to take in the experience at least once?
I think so. I think it is important because it's not only there's an energy throughout the crowd, even if you don't have front row seats, because very few people do, but you're a part of this experience. You're a part of the excitement and everything that DC has to offer.
And there's always a few parties after the thing wraps up, too.
Everybody gets to bring out their finest clothes and enjoy the evenings. Again, it's a big crowd, but everybody has a lot of fun. I would say that the agriculture ball itself is always particularly fun and always has the best food.
That's what I hear, and I'm planning to join you guys for that on this evening as well, too.
It'll be a great time.
Well, thank you very much for offering your insight again, talking with Rob LaRue. He is with the National Farmers Union, taking in this inauguration experience before, again, the Agriculture Gala. It's a bipartisan gala that's going to take place tonight in Washington, D.C. Hope to have more for you on that on Monday. On the road in Washington, D.C., I'm Janet Atkinson, RFD-TV News.
Thank you, Janet. And again, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, and RFD-TV will bring you coverage throughout the morning right here on your Market Day Report and on tonight's Rural Evening News at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Plus, continued coverage next week on RFD-TV, and look for exclusive content in an upcoming issue of RFD-TV, the magazine. On this historic day for our nation, we are covering the Rural Tractor Brigade, a major part of today's inaugural parade. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson now joins us live from the parade route.
Thanks again, Christina. We are here just not too far away from the White House, and in fact, we're standing at 15th and Pennsylvania, so the parade route is going to be coming this direction. We're going to show you a little bit of what the direction is. Now, I'm walking on bleachers here, so bear with me. So down this street, again, they're going to be coming right down here next to the Treasury. And as they come past the Treasury, they're going to walk or drive as well right here in front of us. Now, as I said, we are at 15th and Pennsylvania. We've got a great intersection right here, great seating. You can see that the bleachers are maybe a little bare right now. That's because a lot of folks are taking in some other things that are going on in Washington, D.C. But folks are starting to trickle in, so we're going to have to keep our space protected and not to let folks interfere, because we want to get some great shots for you, of course, as the day progresses. Now, this area earlier, whenever we reported, was full of personnel, so security personnel. Now, they left not too long ago. And why did they leave? Well, they left because they were headed over to the Capitol. In fact, that is President Obama, as well as Vice President Biden, as well as our President-elect and Vice President-elect. They traveled right by us. We're pretty sure that they were in the car that was right behind the van that had the film crew, the video crew in it. So they were headed over to the White House, or over to the Capitol. That, of course, is where the inauguration ceremony is going to take place. We understand that after the inauguration actually occurs, then the new president, President Trump, as well as his family, and Vice President Pence and his family, they will have a luncheon with some folks at the Capitol, a few other things taking place throughout the day, and then they will make their way back over here to the White House, but they're going to do that with the parade. The parade is set to start around 3 o'clock, and of course we've got the Tractor Brigade that is part of that parade taking place today. Just a little bit of insight of what's taking place here in Washington, D.C., and of course we'll keep you posted throughout the day. Christina, I know it's warmer there, but I've got my hand warmers that are helping me out just a little bit. You can't see them because I've got them hidden away, but they're definitely helping. We certainly appreciate the technology helping to keep our fingers thawed. Back to you in the studio.
It looks like you're staying dry for now, at least, as well. Thank you so much, Janet. And again, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern. RFD-TV will continue to bring you coverage throughout your Market Day report and on tonight's Rural Evening News at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Plus, we'll have continued coverage next week on RFD-TV, and look for exclusive content in an upcoming issue of RFD-TV, the magazine. And tractors are lining up in support of rural America. It's really great to be bringing you these live pictures on this historic day. We have our very own Mark Oppold and Janet Atkinson live on the scene in Washington, D.C., in addition to our CEO and founder, Patrick Gotch, getting ready to take part in the Rural Tractor Brigade. We'll have more on that coming up as we head into our next hour. And of course, make sure you check out our Rural Evening News tonight. We'll be right back. Good morning, and thanks for watching Market Day Report. I'm Christina Loren. The 2017 Presidential Inaugural Parade will highlight the American journey, including the one by our nation's farmers and ranchers. Agriculture is going to be represented heavily by the Rural Tractor Brigade, and RFD-TV has organized the lineup, which will join the procession as the parade makes its way to the White House later this afternoon. RFD-TV's Mark Oppold joins us live with one of today's drivers.
Christina, we are live as we have just installed our 45th president. You're just missing a 21 cannon salute. Booms, 21. We counted them here as our new president now inaugurated. It's official, and now the continuation of the day with our parade will begin after their luncheon. You meet a lot of great friends here, some that you haven't seen in a while. A great friend of mine for, well, the years are piling up here.
They are.
Our own Max Armstrong on This Week in Agribusiness here on RFD-TV, and one of the drivers or riders today, Max.
Yeah, Mr. Mark, I'm going to be riding, pal. I'm going to be in the buddy seat because I don't want to miss the circus.
Yeah.
It is a wonderful group that is gathered here, and of course we have this lineup of tractors.
Yeah.
When did you ever see tractors in the nation's capital? Well, you have to go back 40 years to the protests that took place around 1979, 1980, when farmers came to Washington then in protest. But brand new tractors in an inaugural parade, I don't think it's ever been done before.
Man, I don't know about about you, but it got chills here when you and I were standing, coming on the air here, and hearing the 21 cannon. It wasn't 21 guns because we are blocks and blocks away from the event, the inauguration on the Capitol steps, but we could hear them loud and clear here.
We could. It was a big boom. The first one, when you heard the first one, you were a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Then you heard the successive reports and you realized, okay, this is a part of the celebration taking place. I'm not sure how far we are from the parade route, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We're up on Capitol Hill, not far from the Capitol Hill Holiday Inn here, and we see the equine units lining up, and of course there'll be a lot of units in this parade, but nothing quite like the one in which we're involved, the 13 tractors.
Absolutely. You know, and you talk about technology, and people here, as they wait for their turn to be enjoying the parade, people are texting, people are Facebooking, people are calling back home, and it's just a great age we live in.
It really is, and what's neat is these tractors are providing us an opportunity to talk with people. Some of the folks from the Indianapolis Police Department motorcycle detail are here, and I was visiting with them back alongside the tractors a few minutes ago. They were asking what the tractors were worth and how they operate. Yeah. They had no idea of the technology, the GPS technology that is used in these cabs today, and so it's providing us an opportunity, just as Patrick Gotch, president of RFD-TV, has said many times, to interact country with the city.
Very good. And before we leave, congratulations to you. You are the president of the National Association of Farm Broadcasting. A busy year always, but even a busier one for Max Armstrong.
A privilege to walk in the footsteps of the better individuals who preceded me, for sure, sir. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you. Max Armstrong, of course, one of the many those invitees who took Patrick Gotch up right away on his invitation to come and be part of this historic event. He's riding in the big Case IH here behind us, Max.
Absolutely. I'll be waving. I'll have my county fair queen wave.
Very good. Max Armstrong here. Again, we have a new president, so ever closer to the parade beginning. Live, now I'm back to you.
Thank you so much, Mark. And of course, we always love talking and hearing from Max Armstrong. Again, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, and RFD-TV will bring you coverage throughout the morning and on tonight's Rural Evening News at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Plus, continued coverage next week on RFD-TV, and look for exclusive content in an upcoming issue of RFD-TV, the magazine. Our nation officially swears in its 45th president, Donald Trump. It is official. And in celebration of his inauguration, Americans from across the country will partake in this afternoon's parade, including the Rural Tractor Brigade. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson joins us live from her front row seat.
That is right, Christina. Certainly do have a front row stage. We are sitting here at Pennsylvania and 15th, which is just a couple hundred yards away from the White House. Now, the parade is going to start about 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Central. Of course, we just heard the inaugural address. President Trump, it is official now. So the afternoon takes them to the Capitol for a luncheon with, of course, other leaders from government, and they're going to have a conversation, visit, eat lunch, of course. But then after that, they're eventually going to make their way out from the Capitol, and that's when the parade is going to start. In the parade, as Christina mentioned, we have the Rural Tractor Brigade, and of course we've got quite a crew behind the wheel of those tractors. We really look forward to catching up with those folks at the end of the parade. Now, the route is, of course, going to come down Pennsylvania Avenue, work its way over here to the White House, come up here around this corner. So this corner just right over here to my left is where they're going to make a turn and come down 15th, and then, of course, next to the White House. So we're really looking forward to this whole thing taking place. Now, one thing I did do, I tried to pull up a few facts from years gone by as far as the inaugural address and the parade that takes place. A couple of little points that I thought was interesting. The shortest inaugural or initial address, of course, given by a president goes all the way back. 135 words. That was George Washington's. That was the shortest one ever given. Also, another little interesting point, the first inaugural ball was held for James Madison. And another point, James Garfield's mother was the first to attend her son's inauguration. So a little few tidbits taking place in our nation's history. Now, speaking of that inaugural ball, tonight I still have full agenda because it is the bipartisan agricultural gala celebrating American agriculture. Looking forward to that and seeing some of our friends in the agriculture industry right here in Washington, D.C. And I tell you, you're talking about a lot of excitement, not only excitement here as far as celebrating the inauguration for our country, but celebrating agriculture as well. So we'll have more here throughout the afternoon for you, Christina. In Washington, D.C., Janet Atkinson.
Thank you so much, Janet. And RFD-TV is blessed to be a part of the history today. The parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, and RFD-TV is going to bring you coverage throughout the morning and on tonight's Rural Evening News at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Plus, continued coverage next week on RFD-TV and in an upcoming issue of RFD-TV, the magazine. Good morning, rather good afternoon, and thanks for watching Market Day Report. I'm Christina Loren. A lineup of colorful tractors will join this afternoon's Presidential Inaugural Parade, representing America's farmers and ranchers. Now, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern and will proceed down 15 blocks of Pennsylvania Avenue between the U.S. Capitol and the White House. RFD-TV's Mark Oppold joins us live.
Christina, you are looking live as the crowd making its way from the Capitol steps, the swearing-in ceremony now complete, making their way to Pennsylvania Avenue with the next major event of the day here, this very historic day, of course, the Presidential Inaugural Parade. And that includes the RFD-TV Tractor Brigade. The tractor drivers are in their tractors. They've been warming them up. Security coming around for that final look, and the drivers are ready. We had a chance to visit. Hope you were able to hear our visit with Zippy Duval here as well. One of the dealers coming from Whiteford, Maryland. We have officials from the Soybean Association, the Corn Growers Association. Of course, many of our implement dealers are bringing their tractors here and proud to be part of this historic day. It's a long day. Started this morning, actually, with a worship service, and then, of course, the procession to the Capitol, the swearing-in ceremony that just took place, a 21 cannon salute when that was complete. And now the next major event, as we mentioned, the Presidential Parade, Inaugural Parade down Pennsylvania Avenue and past the reviewing stand at the White House. And then tonight, all the inaugural balls taking place well into tomorrow morning. Janet Atkinson has been standing by at the White House location, and she'll be having reports tonight as well and into next week from her vantage point, all this important and historic day from the White House. So stay tuned for that tonight on our Rural Evening News. So we are, again, within an hour of the parade beginning. We have a new president, and rural America is here to show their support. Live from our nation's capital. It's been great to be here with you today. We've had folks calling in or tuning in and letting us know from Kansas, from Florida, from Wisconsin, around this great country. A great day for all Americans.
Thank you so much, Mark. We really appreciate your reports, and we can't wait for that additional coverage in the next half hour. And you can watch the Rural Tractor Brigade and the recent announcement of President Trump's pick to lead the USDA. The last few days have been monumentous for agriculturalists, and this Inauguration Day, our nation's capital is crammed with people anxious to see history in action. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson caught up with an inauguration veteran to find out what today is all about.
On such an exciting day as the inaugural parade, no matter what year it is, but here in 2017, it's always great to chat with other folks who have maybe been through this before and seen some of the inaugurations take place in years past. Now, we are joined by Senate Ag Committee Chairman Pat Roberts, also a senator from Kansas. And Senator Roberts, this is not your first rodeo. You've seen these take place before.
Yes, ma'am. I go way back to 1952. I was just a youngster in high school, probably a freshman, and I was here with my dad, who was national chairman, and I saw the Eisenhower inauguration. That was special because Ike was Ike, everybody liked Ike, and so it was a true national turnout. A lot of veterans really appreciated that, so that was a special. I got to ride in a Buick convertible going down Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah.
Or I thought I was somebody. I was probably 15, 16 years old.
Now, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but there are going to be tractors in this year's inaugural parade. As a gentleman from Kansas, a farm state, what's that mean to you to see this take place?
Well, I hope it signals to the American people that we still produce the most inexpensive and the most safest food in the history of the world.
For somebody, again, who's been through the inauguration before, and you've seen that change of power from one administration to the other, how does that make you feel whenever you get to see that take place in our country?
Well, I think it's very special, and it's very special for the transfer of a government under a democratic platform, really, that has existed for so many years. And it doesn't happen very often in the world. It happens in a few countries that have that kind of history, but it's very special for America.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to chat about us. We appreciate the insight that you've had from years past. Again, talking with Senator Pat Roberts of Kansas. He is the chairman of the Senate Agriculture Committee. Again, as he said, he's had inauguration experience going back to the 1950s, as he mentioned. So I know he's got a busy day ahead and hopefully a good seat for everything taking place as well. On the road in Washington, D.C., I'm Janet Atkinson, RFD-TV News.
Thank you, Janet. And we're really looking forward to the inaugural parade, which kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Back with you here on the Market Day Report on a Friday, Inauguration Friday. And we're going to be talking now with our representative from Superior Livestock. This time around, it's none other than Tom Odell. And Tom, I am so glad I had a chance to visit with you, particularly today, because it's a little bit of an unusual circumstance. Normally we'd talk about your show list and all that coming up for your next video auction. You have a little something else on your mind today as well. Your dad is a little busy today.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's nice to talk about Superior and the cattle market and everything that way, but you know, the inauguration and what's going on today, I think, is really what the news is about and where this country's going. And two of the best men I know are there driving a John Deere tractor through the parade, and that's Mr. Gotch and Mr. Jim Odell. And I just got off the phone with Dad, and as of right now, nobody's been arrested. He said there are some people that are a little questionable, but it looks like a great celebration.
And you're referring to the drivers, I take it, in this case.
Yeah, I hope they keep the tractors off the sidewalks. Dad did say, speaking of sidewalks, when Trump did his swearing in, he said people were dancing on the sidewalks, and it was just quite a celebration. He said it's just an amazing event to be able to be involved with, and you know, so gracious to RFD to give my dad a chance to be there.
That's really super. I'm glad everybody had a chance to participate in that. That is representing the Tractor Brigade today, and taking part in that a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
On this historic day for our nation, we are covering the Rural Tractor Brigade, a major part of today's inaugural parade. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson joins us live from the parade route.
Thank you once again, Christina. As you say, we are on the parade route, and there's activity starting to take place. Once the inaugural address was over with, we could tell that folks are starting to funnel in here a little bit more, and that's exactly what's happening. You can see the bus is coming in behind us. A bus went by just a little bit ago that is one of the military bands, so we're getting ready to have music start here sometime in the next couple of hours. Now, while we were here, though, found a couple FFA members. That's right. I was like, got my eye looking for them, and I found them. We have Mr. Garrett Jenkins. He is the state sentinel for Pennsylvania. Garrett, thank you for joining us today. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get this opportunity to come to D.C. today?
So 5 of our teammates elected to come to D.C. today. 2 of our teammates are going to be in the parade today. Thanks to your behalf from RFD-TV. They're going to be holding the banner in front of the Tractor Brigade. So we're happy to be here watching them, and thanks for having us.
So what's been the highlight for you today?
I would say the highlight was this morning, 6:30 in the morning, nobody around in the streets, bumping into Sonny Perdue, former governor of Georgia and our nominee to be the Secretary of Agriculture.
For 48 hours we've known this, and you just happened to run into him.
Yes.
That's pretty exciting.
It is.
Did he recognize the FFA jacket and say hello?
He did. He pulled the blue jackets aside, elected to get a photo with us, and he really took a moment to have a conversation, and we really enjoyed it.
What a memorable opportunity for you. That's pretty cool. Well, again, Garrett Jenkins, he's the state sentinel in Pennsylvania. We have one of his comrades in the FFA joining us as well. We have Jacob Klein. Jacob, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's a little cold, but we're making it through, and it's a lot of fun. It's a great honor to be here. Thank you, RFD-TV, for this incredible opportunity.
So how's the experience been for you today so far?
Unbelievable. I never expected that I'd be here today. But through my experiences in this blue jacket, it's taken me to places I never thought I'd be before, and to meet people I never thought I would either, such as sunny Purdue. But it's been incredible. It's a great opportunity.
Now, what do you think is the one point that you're going to remember the most? Probably that sunny Purdue thing?
Yeah, probably.
That's with good I can understand that. That's a good reason. And I'm sure you guys will encounter him again down the road. Also, you guys have fellow teammates that are in the parade with the Rural Tractor Brigade. They're carrying the signs in the front, so keep your eyes peeled for them as well. So we were so happy to run into these young folks wearing their FFA jackets. And I even gave them a couple hand warmers because we don't want them to stay thawed out because they've got a lot of exciting times ahead of them here throughout the rest of the afternoon. Christina, things are not warming up, but the excitement is certainly heating up. Back to you in the studio.
That was very generous of you to let them have some of your hand warmers, and their enthusiasm is contagious. Again, the parade begins at 3 p.m. Eastern. RFD-TV will continue to bring you coverage throughout your Market Day report and on tonight's Rural Evening News at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Plus, we'll have continued coverage next week on RFD-TV, and look for exclusive content in an upcoming issue of RFD-TV, the magazine. Well, as we inch closer to the 3 p.m. Eastern hour, the Rural Tractor Brigade gears up for the upcoming inaugural parade. You see them here live, getting ready to represent rural America on Pennsylvania Avenue in our nation's capital. Stay tuned for full coverage tonight on your Rural Evening News. That's at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a fantastic weekend, and thanks for making Market Day a part of your day. It was a day of patriotism and of pomp and circumstance in our nation's capital on Friday, complete with a big win for agriculture as the Rural Tractor Brigade represented one of the nation's largest industries. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson reports.
A crowd stretched along the National Mall under gray Washington skies to watch Friday's inaugural parade, complete with a lineup of colorful tractors representing America's farmers and ranchers.
It's the Rural Tractor Brigade from Elkhorn, Nebraska.
The Rural Tractor Brigade made the route down Pennsylvania Avenue from the U.S. Capitol all the way to the White House.
Grand Slam for agriculture. We really connected with people all along the route. Mr. Trump gave us a high five. I think his son liked it better than anybody, his little boy.
RFD-TV organized the brigade, inviting tractor manufacturers and leaders of our nation's largest ag organizations to participate.
Well, it was an awesome day. You know, we waited a long time for the parade to start, but boy, once it got started, the cheers we got when we drove those tractors around the corner was just unbelievable. Yeah. It was wonderful to see the people in the crowd here recognizing how important agriculture is to this country.
And important it is, with this unit of tractors reminding the nation of the role American ag plays in feeding and clothing the world.
Agriculture represents a big chunk of America's economy, and I think that's where the connection needs to be made, and this was certainly a great event to start that process.
We're just like everybody else in America. We want to be America needs to be better, and we're working very hard to make sure it's better for not only agriculture, but everybody and every consumer in the United States.
And bringing the producer and the consumer together has been RFD-TV's mission all along.
I really appreciate the support of all the guys, the soybean, the pork producers, the Zippy Duvall at American Farm Bureau, Randy at U.S. Farm and Ranch. Everybody really pulled together.
Pulling together for a historic event rural America won't soon forget. Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Janet Atkinson, RFD-TV News.
And if you want to see more coverage from the Rural Tractor Brigade, visit RFD-TV's Facebook page, where you can find Facebook Live posts from both RFD-TV founder and president Patrick Gotch and markets editor Mark Oppold. Really cool posts, actually, from the tractor, the views from the tractor. So make sure you check that out. And stay with us. Meteorologist Tim Ross has your forecast coming up at 10 after the hour. We'll be right back. As we end the hour, we continue to celebrate rural America's representation in this year's inaugural parade. Here's a recap of Friday's festivities with the musical accompaniment of the U.S. Marine Corps Band and the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. And stay tuned for more Market Day Report right after this.
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the people. We share one heart, one home, and one glorious destiny. The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans. A new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first. January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again.
Today, we celebrate agriculture and rural America after an outstanding representation at Friday's inaugural parade.
Next up, the heartland of America is represented in this year's inaugural parade by a combination of modern American-made tractors driven by leaders from the farm and ranch community. It's the Rural Tractor Brigade from Elkhorn, Nebraska.
Tractor manufacturers from across the United States were represented, each manned by ag leaders from several of the nation's ag organizations. The contingent of colorful tractors was organized by RFD-TV in a continuing effort to reconnect city with country. And according to RFD-TV founder and president Patrick Gotch, the mission was accomplished.
Grand Slam for agriculture. We really connected with people all along the route. Mr. Trump gave us a high five. I think his son liked it better than anybody, his little boy, but lots of thumbs up all the way down the parade route, lots of enthusiasm. I think people really got it, and we're really impressed on the show that all of agriculture put on today, all the tractor manufacturers, all the grain and livestock associations.
And those who viewed the parade and participated say the group was met with plenty of applause, including a hearty thumbs up from President Donald Trump himself. Friday's inaugural parade was a big win for agriculture as the Rural Tractor Brigade represented one of the nation's largest and most important industries. RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson now joins us from our Washington, D.C. News Bureau for a recap. Thanks so much for joining us, Janet. And let's start with the reaction that you witnessed firsthand in D.C. when the Rural Tractor Brigade rolled down Pennsylvania Avenue.
Well, I tell you what, it was certainly quite a rumbling crowd. You could tell the excitement from the drivers and the tractors themselves, and I personally think that carried over into the audience. So we've had a flow of bands and, of course, horses and some of the military personnel. So the tractors coming through was kind of a change of pace, and there certainly was a lot of excitement. And then I had the chance to go back and see some of the cuts later, of course, as the parade was going through, and the feed that was happening and the excitement. I want to point out, of course, President Trump's son, Barron. You could tell that he was kind of excited about the tractors coming through and sort of changing up the scenery that he had been seeing all day.
And, you know, our very own markets editor, Mark Oppold, got a close-up from one of the shots, one of the cameras on the parade trail, and it was amazing. He was on every single major network, and it was really great to see him. Did you get a chance to catch that?
I did, and in fact, I have to say that my Facebook feed, after they rolled past, just absolutely lit up with Mark Oppold. So given the closeness that we know Mark, of course, and we see him on a regular basis, it certainly highlighted the opportunity that not only this was for RFD-TV, but for Mark himself. What a memory that's going to be.
Yeah, he's going to be in later today. I'm sure he's going to be floating on air still. Now, why would you say this is such a big moment for rural America?
You know, throughout the parade, there was such a military personnel or security presence, needless to say, coming through, and that is always wonderful to see our military men and women highlighted. There were different divisions of our government that were highlighted throughout the entire event, but then agriculture was definitely something that was different that you witnessed throughout the parade. So not only that experience as far as setting it aside, but then highlighting it, and you heard the major networks talking about agriculture, talking about RFD-TV and highlighting rural America and the importance and contributions that rural America has for our community. I had an event that I attended that evening, and it really, to me personally, brought it home because I had so many people come up to me who maybe I hadn't even met before, but introduced myself and that I was with RFD-TV. Oh, you guys were behind the tractor parade or the tractor brigade that was in the inaugural parade today. We saw that. What a neat opportunity. So, you know, it's exciting for us. We know it's exciting for us, but then to hear the other people that maybe were not familiar with us and the significance of rural America, to say that again later, that's what brings it home.
Yeah, really bridging the rural community with the big cities across this great nation. Now, you had a long day. You got up early and you stayed out late. What was your favorite moment from Inauguration Day?
You know, the funny part is I'm not one who likes to get up early, but we certainly, as you said, did get up early. We rolled up there to Pennsylvania Avenue bright and early in the morning, up before the crows or the roosters crow. But I do have to say that that was in itself kind of a neat experience because Washington, D.C. is always such a hustle and bustle of activity, and it was still a bit quiet at that time. So to see the city streets of our nation's capital city in a little peaceful kind of situation, that was pretty neat. And I do have to say that the night before, John Kettlehut, our videographer who was on the road with me there, he and I hiked over to the U.S. Department of Agriculture to feed back some of that video. And it was the middle of the night, the fences were up, and we're walking down Independence Avenue, and we're just about the only two people out there. So to see our nation's capital so quiet and peaceful, that was really kind of something pretty neat to take away.
Oh, I can only imagine. Now, I'm sure you posted some pictures on your social media. Did you do that?
I did. I posted some pictures throughout the day and then, of course, followed that up with a few that night as well.
Okay, well, we can't wait to see those. Remember to follow Janet as well as RFD-TV on Facebook and Twitter as well as Instagram. Thank you so much, Janet. We look forward to talking to you a little bit later on in the show as well.
Thanks, Christina.
RFD-TV's Janet Atkinson joining us from our Washington, D.C. News Bureau. Janet will join us again in our next half hour to give us an overview of the 2017 inaugural gala celebrating American agriculture.